So I kind of got started without the camera here, but this is my brother's, the John Deere. I think there's another video where we replaced the impeller on the grass removal system. Just ran into it. It's getting towards the tail end of winter. It's just into April now. And it stopped removing snow. So what we found was that the chain on this front snowblower drive was hanging down. So it popped out, pretty simple affair, just popped out these 4 bolts, 2 of them below and 2 at the top side, and then it lifts out. And the teeth don't look terrible. There's some wear on them, but they're not overly sharp. They're not overly sharp, and none of them are bent. The main culprit seems to be the chain is pretty crunchy. It doesn't have a quick link in it, so I'll take it back to my garage and buzz off the tips, see if I got anything in my stash. And then we'll look to see if we need new sprockets and whatnot. But initially at this point it looks like it just needs chain. So I'm going to grind out the heads on one of these links so I can take it out of here because it doesn't have any quick links in it. And in my stash I did find a couple of chains from something I had built about 15 years ago, used for a while, but these went back into the bucket. They're a little stiff, so I soaked them overnight in oil. Take those out in a little bit, see if they work. I think they're the same size as this one. So I think the first step will be to get this apart, and then I can check it against the other ones that I have. So by rights, this should come apart easily. Or not. I'm not trying to save this, so I think I'll just cut it in half. You want to be careful not to catch your fingers in the cutoff wheel. Oh, that's a first. I unplugged the grinder. Oh. I'll bring it back once I get this apart and change the wheel. I'm just going to throw that disc out in case I cracked it. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, the chain bit into this disc a little bit, so it's going in the garbage. I approach that one a little more carefully. Yeah, so this chain, there's a fair amount of slop on the pins, and it's pretty crunchy in places. I think I might have pointed out the teeth don't look bad. They're not sharp. They don't look bent. So I'm going to clean up these two chains I've had soaking, and we'll see if they fit. Pretty sure they got a quick link on them somewhere. I'll bring you back once I get the oil off them. Okay, I got the oil off them. Just pop off the quick link. I may end up having to kind of join, I don't know if these are long enough. So I might have to cut and sort of join these two together and to make them the right length. There we go. Well, the new chain, or new used chain, is about 4 links short. Yeah, it meets up to the sprocket. There's no play. So I'm going to cut a couple of 3 links off of this one, join it together with that extra quick link. So as luck would have it, I laid these side by each and just kept counting the links, and there's 25 links in the old one and there's 25 in the new one. The difference is how much the old one stretched, which is why it came off. So these first 2 links are lined up. By the time we get to the end, it stretched the equivalent of about, well, probably 2 1/4 links. So I'm just going to button it back together on the sprocket and then go get her put together. I fed the chain through over the sprocket and the casing. Now I'm just going to pop this. I do believe it turns clockwise, so I want the leading edge of this sort of to the front. Come on. Yeah, good to go. Okay, back out here at my brother's shop. I'm just going to reassemble. Pretty simple assembly. Just make sure everything's hooked up. To speed things along, I'm just going to zip these up. I'll tighten them up after. Just had to grab a swivel so I can get in at a bit of an angle. I think that's probably got about, doesn't have a whole bunch of play. Don't want to make it too tight. Yeah, it still feels pretty good. Yeah, there's a little bit of slop, but he can run it the rest of this season and then see, you can see what it feels like come spring. Just going to coat the sprocket with a bit of grease. Make sure everything's well lubricated. I think I'll try fitting this snowblower back on the front of the John Deere. These are supposed to just pop into place like that. I'm going to hook up the PTO. There we go. Yeah, so it's spring loaded or something, or there's a little key that this collar slides ahead to lock it. So I'll fire it up again and do a quick check to make sure that the augers spin. the heck is locked up. I was able to spin everything freely when I had the chain drive off. This spun, and you could see the sprocket turning, the big one, and I could turn the little sprocket. I popped it back off. Something seems firmly locked up. I'm going to take a minute and pop this back out and just make sure everything still spins freely. Okay, loosen these off. Might make it a little easier. I see the problem. You can quite see that, but the teeth from the small gear are hitting the teeth on the big gear. Even though I've got a 25 link chain, which was the same length as the one that came out. Something is strange. Anyhow, I'm going to get the chain off and finish taking this out, and I might have to add 2 links, 1 or 2 links into that. Things that make you go, yeah, this is going to need a couple of more links, which is strange because the one I took out of here is the exact same number of links, and this chain fits the sprocket bang on. Okay, we'll be back. I left the other chunk of chain on the quick link in town, so in my time it'll be a day or so, in your time it'll be 10 seconds. This might be a little hard to see, but I also noticed as I'm beginning to put this back together that the height of the small sprocket, it's probably 3/16 of an inch higher than this one, which would be about the height of how far this sprocket, the big sprocket's down on the shaft. So I may need to back these off, and hopefully this will slide up. So to get these 2 in plane, I loosened off these set screws or bolts. Those now feel like they're running in line with each other. Luckily I had soaked this with some good penetrating oil, you know, rust inhibitor or whatever, a couple of days ago. So it was relatively easy to move. Just tighten these set screws back up and then figure out how to make the chain fit. And now there should be enough space there that the sprockets miss each other by, a good 1/4 inch. So the chain's probably about the right tightness. If I put a quick link in there, that still leaves me 1 short. But I did go to Princess Auto on the way out here and picked up these little half-link connectors. So I'm going to use 2 of these to take up that slack and should be good to go. Well, these are sort of keyed, so they fit through the hole at a specific orientation. And I can pop the cotter key back through. I'll clip off those ends with a pair of side cutters. Whoop. Drop the cotter key. Yeah, these little magnets come in pretty handy. Okay, I'm gonna just clip off the long ends so they don't get in the way. Yeah, so 2 of those half links, and now everything fits. Pop this connecting link or quick link, whatever you want to call it. I'm assuming this spins clockwise. That all seems good. I think there's enough play in that chain. Just going to snug up a couple of these bolts. Well, everything seems to want to work smoothly now. Okay, well, the next step, before I put this back on the front of the tractor, I think this has got one of those quick oil change John Deere setups. So I'm just going to find it and fire up the tractor, let it warm up a bit, and then drop the oil and change the filter. So it might be a little hard to see, but right in front of the motor there's a little 10mm bolt. I'll wiggle the wrench a little bit. And you loosen that off and drain the oil out through the hose. So Fairly simple affair. I'll drop the oil, pull the filter. The filter's on the opposite side of the motor, so again, pretty basic. You've probably all seen an oil change before, so I'll carry on with this. And then we'll pop the blower assembly back on and see how it works. Okay, you got the oil drained out. And while that was dripping, I pulled those spark plugs. My brother picked up a couple new ones, gapped them to 0.031 of an inch, put a little bit of that blue moly never seize or anti-seize on the threads. There's one. And there's two. I'll go around and pop that oil filter off. Spin on the new filter. And I'll add 1.8 liters and then we'll fire it up and check it. Okay, you're going to add 1.8 liters. There's 1 liter and 0.8. I'll fire it up now and let it run for a minute or two and then check the oil. Okay, going to hook this up again. It's kind of a spring-loaded coupler. And I didn't catch this first part on camera, but changing the fuel filter, apparently you just push on the back of this little white clip and it spreads a couple of fingers. So we'll try it on this one. Yeah, there you go. He was having some hard start problems and thought it might be the fuel filter, so figured we'd just change it while we're at it. But I do want to check the flow on the new one. Blows through quite easily. clean up the end. This one doesn't feel terrible, but while I have it off, I'll change it anyway. And there is a flow direction to it, so it should just be a matter of popping this back in. And there were a couple of these plastic sort of upholstery buttons. They just push back into place. Now I'll fire it up and lift it a bit so I can lock those bottom pins in. Well, that one went in. And that one's in. We'll just move these hoses. Now I'm just going to kick the PTO in and make sure that goes round and round. Well, I think the little chain repair and the service is a success, so have a good day and we'll maybe catch you on the next one. Bye for now.